NeoQor!
Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy NeoQor, and today I'm going to be giving you a behind the scenes look at how I created the electric guitar sound in my latest track, Took My Way, which sounds like this. This sound was made completely without an actual electric guitar. It was actually made, as you can see here, in this little window with 4 different instances of a guitar emulator synth called FL Slayer. This comes stock with Fruity Loops. So I'm going to show you what each channel sounds like on its own so you can get an idea of what each layer sounds like. So keep in mind the top 2 layers, these are both clones of each other. They're both similar settings. One is panned right and one is panned left. So I'm going to play both together. And now the bottom 2 here, it's the same deal. I created one and then I cloned it, panned one to the right and one to the left. So these are basically just copies of each other. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what this sounds like. And then together they sound like this. Let's actually get into what these settings are on the actual layers. So on the top layer, I'm just going to select this first one here. The only thing that I really messed with was a couple of settings. So I made sure that the mode was set to power chords. String was set to noise here, and then I made sure that the slap was turned down because some of these knobs here imitate different hand functions on a guitar. So you know the fret noise, the slap noise, the damp controls basically imitates the sound of somebody putting their hand on the strings to dampen the vibration of the strings. So let me go ahead and open up a default FL Slayer so you can kind of compare the two and you can see the difference. So okay, the slap I turned up just a little bit but not too much. The tone I messed with a bit but it didn't really make much of a difference. The harmonic I turned up and that just, I'm not really sure what that does, to be completely honest with you, but I turned it up and it sounded cool and I like the way it sounded, so it's at about 2/3. So yeah, take that as you will. And then dampen I turned up just a tiny bit. Alright. And cabinet here, it's set to British instead of combo, which is what the default setting is. And then amp tube, it's the same deal. I turned the drive up considerable amounts, and I turned the feedback up quite a considerable amount. I also turned the low down a bit, and I boosted the high. So again, left side, this is what I did. These are the settings that I made. Feel free to screenshot this if you like, and then you can compare that to the default settings over here. So now let's look at our low layer and compare that to our default settings. So my low layer is set to strumming in the mode section instead of power chords, and I have the string set to 6-string 2 instead of noise. As for the tone, I turn the tone up just a little bit. I turn the slap up considerable amounts, about 3/4, I would say, maybe somewhere around 2/3, 3/4. The harmonic I turned up about 2/3 of the way as well. Damp I didn't really mess with. Drive, again, I turned that up a considerable amount. It's actually all the way up. Presence I turned down a bit. Feedback I turned all the way up. I turned the low down a bit. I boosted the mids a bit, and I also boosted the highs a considerable amount. And the amp setting is the same. The cabinet setting is also the same. So again, feel free to screenshot this if you need to, if you want to, kind of be able to compare. There you go. Those are the default settings versus the settings that I created in FL Slayer for my low layer. So now let's look at the actual mixer chain and take a look at what I did there. So all of these 4 channels here, the ones that are all labeled guitar held, I sent them all to a mixer channel called guitar. So now that they're all on one mixer channel, I did have a Fruity Fast low pass. That's actually just something that I was using to automate the guitar as the guitar was coming in during the build. So that's actually not really a mix setting, that's more of just an effect. The Blood Overdrive I turned on, and as for the settings on that, let me go ahead and play it so you can hear it. So that makes quite a difference. I have the times 100 turned on, and then I have the preamp turned up to about 0.14. That adds quite a bit of extra overdrive to the guitar sounds collectively. I then put a stereo enhancer on it, so let me go ahead and turn that on. And I have it set, the offset set to about 1.1 milliseconds left. That just adds a bit of stereo separation to it. So now you can hear it with the stereo enhancer. Basically just widens the stereo field on the guitar sound. And then parametric EQ really just cut the area around 2.8 kilohertz to about 3.8 kilohertz. I have a little dip here. I use a lot of different nodes to make that dip. It's really not that much of a dip. It's maybe about 2 decibels lower. And now the second parametric EQ is a little bit more involved. I added a little bit of a boost in the 320 from about 327 to about 500 hertz by about 0.6, 0.7 dB, just to give it a little bit of a warmer sound in the low mid. I also dipped out a little more at about 2.5 kilohertz. And about 2.9 kilohertz, I dipped it a little bit out because there were some shrill frequencies there. Wanted to kind of tame those a bit. I also did the same at about 6.2 kilohertz. I tamed a little bit of the shrill frequencies, so I have the node here set to a just a little dip. And then I also scooped out some of the low below 81 hertz here. So that's the parametric EQ. And finally, yes, sound goodizer. I put a sound goodizer on it, just didn't really mess with the knob too much. I think I just boosted it a little bit, set to A. So now you can hear what that sounds like. So the sound goodizer actually tamed the levels a little bit, because the sound goodizer, for those of you who don't know, is actually just Maximus presets. So the sound goodizer is compressing it, and it's limiting it. And so, I don't know. I just like the sound that the sound goodizer gave it. It, didn't sound quite as shrill. It doesn't sound as bright, but it sounds a little bit warmer, and those peaks are tamed a little bit. So that is the electric guitar for my track, Took My Way, which is coming out to all digital stores on November 1st. You can check it out in the link in the description. I hope you guys enjoy it, and make sure that you subscribe to my channel for more tutorials and for more awesome hard dance music to come. Make sure you hit that bell icon as well to be notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you guys. Keep it loud, keep it fast, keep it girthy, and have a good one. Bye-bye.
And the lambs was given play.